So, what happens if you don't have a massive team to create your content for you? Well, I wanted to talk today about one thing that I'm very passionate in, and that's efficiency. A lot of times as entrepreneurs and business owners and agency owners or whatever you may be, we don't have the capital, we don't have the resources to hire on a large content creation team. So in turn, we're kind of stuck in that limbo between, I need content, but I need money to create content with a team or, ghostwriters or whatever. But I don't have that. So what do you do? Well, there's a subject that I'm very passionate about, and that's efficient content creation. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go over how the heck do we create this content in such a way that we're not spinning our wheels, we're not spending money on stuff that we don't need to do. And in turn, we get a lot of content from a few different sources, from very finite resources here. So the first term I want to talk about is splintering. And when you think about splintering, think of a toothpick. You have your toothpick, and when you splinter it, you pull off different pieces of it. You pull off splinters, really. So in splintering, we have our main sources of content. We have it right here. This is your content piece. And from there, we can splinter off pieces all day long. So let's talk about that for a second. So the first step in splintering content is you need to create ideas. You need to create a list of topics to even talk about. Because if you have no idea what you want to talk about, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to have any blogs written. You're not going to have any videos produced. You're just going to be sitting here talking. We're just going to have a chat, a little fireside chat. That's going to get nothing accomplished. So in creating my content, the first thing that I do is I think about what the heck do people even want to hear from me? What do they even want to listen to? What are they interested in? What gets them going? What do they wake up in the morning and say, Daniel produced a new piece of content. I can't wait to listen to it. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to read it. I like that. So come up with a list of topics. Come up with a list of ideas. And from there, you can create your source. So I know it can be a little challenging at first, and a lot of us don't even know where to begin. A lot of people say, Daniel, I don't even know what to talk about. What are people even interested in? Well, luckily, there's a few different tools to figure out what people are engaging with, what people are interested in. And one of them is BuzzSumo, buzzsumo.com. And that's a tool that shows you some of the highest engagement content out there, some of the content that people are really interacting with. And if you go to it, it's basically a search bar and you type in, lead generation or ice cream shops, or for me, it'd be social media advertising. And it brings up a list of articles, and it's ranked by default, with the highest engagement on top, and it's pretty much from the past year or so, and you can see what people are interacting with. I just looked one up for social media advertising, and the first topic was, Unilever plans to pull out of Facebook ads unless Facebook cleans up the digital swamp. And it's like, what the heck? So I took a look at it, and it talked about how Unilever was planning to stop advertising on Facebook unless Facebook basically cleaned up its act and cleaned up all the spam, clickbait, the nonsense that myself as an advertiser focuses on not doing. I don't like to put out, and I never do, I don't put out highly direct response clickbait style ads because I know Facebook is shifting away from those. Those direct response, those clickbait style ads are dying a death. Not a slow death, they're dying a death on Facebook. So Think about it this way. If you have a business, you have customers, all right? If you don't, well, reevaluate that. But if you have a business, you have customers. So what are your customers interested in? What do they want to hear? What do they even want to learn about? Daniel, how do I do that? Well, go to social media. That's the best driver for connectivity, hence the name social media. So figure out, what your customers are, and if you don't know your customer persona, if you don't have that idea, that avatar in your mind, go back and reevaluate that too. Go to groups, go to social media, find the places where people already are and already are asking questions. Facebook, Quora, Reddit, sometimes even Instagram, Facebook groups especially. They're all platforms that have a large audience already, and you can leverage that as search engines. Facebook is one of the largest search engines in the world behind Google. YouTube is one of the largest search engines in the world behind Google. Google is the largest search engine in the world, but it's also not social media. So the first step is creating topics, creating that content, creating lists of stuff that you want to actually talk about, that people actually want to hear. Now, in doing so, you now have a list of topics, a list of basically ideas and subjects that you can talk about. For me, it could be like, what's a relevancy score? Why should I even advertise on Facebook? Are Facebook ads dead? Shock and awe. Things like that. The next step is to actually write the content, outline it. Now, for me, I'm not the best writer, meaning I don't like to allocate time to write. I just kind of like to go on and talk because I love to hear myself talk. So sitting down and actually writing the content in an outline form, or actually writing those blog posts out, that's a little difficult for me. But I know that I need to produce great content. I need to have it well written to get my point across. So instead of sitting down as a business owner and grinding it out, I hire someone else to do it for me. Perfect. Okay, that's me as a business owner saying, okay, how can I leverage my money to increase my time? Awesome. So how do I do that? Well, I know that I need to talk about my product or service. For me, it's services. For you, it may be products, goods, services, whatever. So what do? Well, I first look at different websites, and there's one I want to talk about for a second, and it's called Gen M, like Generation M. It's been a very helpful tool in creating that content and me sitting there and saying, okay, I know what my customers want to hear, but I don't want to outline this stuff for 8 hours a day. That would be hell pretty much. So what I do is I went on Gen M, and I created an account, and I hired an apprentice. You're saying, Daniel, what is this? Wizardry? Is this knights, medieval time? No, I hired an apprentice. Think of it like an intern. And it cost me $147 for 90 days of an apprenticeship. If you do the math on that, that comes out to less than $2 per hour when they're capped at 10 hours per week. Disclaimer here. These are not the most experienced people. However, you can find experienced people. I spent about 1 month vetting people for my content creation role. Okay? I didn't just fly by night, jump at the gun and say, oh, you're a good fit, come on board. No, I spent about a month talking to people, seeing if they would be a good fit. I basically did a Hunger Games Battle Royale challenge where I put 5 different content creators against one another and made them write an article, write a blog post for me. And at the end, I judged the responses, and I chose one, and now he's my apprentice, and he's doing a really good job at it too. So once we have the content outlined, all right, or the content written completely, then I say, okay, that's my source. So what do? Well, I then record a video on it, or I have him write a long blog post on the content. And so you're saying, Daniel, I think I'm understanding. So you take the source and you can splinter off content. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So let's say, for example, I have my webcam here, or a simple camera, or my mic, or whatever, and I create a 30-minute video on what the heck is a Facebook ad. All right. Well, from there, what I do is I take segments of it, and I can splinter that off and create Facebook posts, because no one wants to sit on Facebook and read my 2,000-word essay on what the heck is a Facebook ad. No one really wants to sit on Facebook and listen to my 30-minute ramble and rant on what the heck is a Facebook ad. I post it on YouTube, and then I can do Facebook posts with shorter content. And from there, I can not only do that, but I can pull the audio from it and turn that bad boy into a podcast. And so suddenly, I've established myself as an authority all across the web from one single source of content. You're saying, Daniel, I still don't know what you're talking about. Well, think about it this way. You have a pie, all right? The pie is my main piece of content. What the heck is a Facebook ad? All right, now I'm going to slice it. I have a piece of the pie. That piece of the pie is a section on why do we advertise on Facebook? All right, that goes in a Facebook post. I take another piece. That piece of the pie is what are the current Facebook stats and why is it even useful? All right, that's a Facebook post, or even an Instagram post in a very short fashion. And so I take another piece of the pie, it's a larger chunk, and that's just the audio, and that's a podcast. So I'm slicing and dicing, I'm splintering the content. Now, why do we do this? Well, if you're a small team, if you don't have many resources, if you don't have a dedicated content marketing, content creation team, this is especially important, because I'm sitting here saying, if I have a single source of content, that can last me a lot of posts, some podcasts, a main video, a blog, boom, 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 all across the web. I'm splintering. It's basically a content spider web. It's breaking down pieces of existing content and sharing them throughout the different channels online. So not only do I remain omnipresent, but I can have engagement and backlinks across the entire web. Now that's great. I like to say, wow, like Owen Wilson would say. So to recap here, we're going to take a list of ideas and topics that people actually want to hear about, and then we create an outline of the content. You can do that yourself, but for me, I hired a content creator, content marketer to help me out with that. And from there, I record the source content, or I can even get him to write the source content with my input, with my commenting. Google Drive, Google Docs is a great tool for that. And then I break off pieces of that content for relative channels. I'm not going to post on Instagram my entire blog post. I'm not going to post on my blog post an Instagram picture with a bunch of hashtags. Think about the platform. It's different for each one. So now it's your turn. Time to practice. So you need to save your time and money in an efficient way. And you want to splinter off content that is relevant, that your audience wants to hear. Don't write about stupid stuff. Don't write about things that no one will engage with. Don't record videos on stuff that no one will engage with. But think about it like this. Be personal, because remember, people buy from people. I always tell you that. But be personal. And from there, you'll be a winner. Thanks for watching.